Tonight on the Black Channel, when you're living in a society where they keep pushing you and pushing you, at what point do you say enough is enough? The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent Black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Content Radio program, and I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically Black college, university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program, you know, for years I have been beating the drum on a mantra that I have repeated over and over again. They have attempted to tell you that we are in post-racial America for no other reason than the fact that one biracial, Barack Hussein Obama, achieved his political dream of making it to the White House. And that somehow that was a win for all of us. And that because of that, we are in post-racial America. You can all stop talking about racism now. They have attempted to delude us all into telling us that we are the children of integration. And all the racism of America, that doesn't apply anymore. The era of Bull Connor and Lincoln Rockwell is behind us. Now I want to ask you all, do you feel like that era is behind us? Based on what you've seen, based on what you've experienced, based on what you yourselves personally have suffered, do you believe that that era is behind us, or do you believe that we are in the thick of it? I did a video just a few days ago talking about Ebro and Eminem and trying to call him the greatest rapper ever, and the fact that you have so many young white people who have made it very clear that they like Black music, but only if they can remove the Black people from it. Richard Spencer is a young white male. He's not some senior citizen. Jared Taylor's an old white male. Richard Spencer's a young one, has a large following. So is Jason Kessler. So are the others of the alt-right. They keep telling you that you're coming to the end of America's white supremacy. And every time we turn around, we see very quickly that no, you're not at the end. You're still in the very middle of it. And white supremacy is no longer invisible. You see, under the civil rights generation, the World War II generation, white supremacy was allowed to be invisible. It was allowed to operate. It was allowed to kill, destroy, steal, murder, rampage. But you were forbidden to speak its name. You were forbidden to acknowledge its existence. The only time that Black people have ever made progress against white supremacy is when we spoke its name and acknowledged its existence. From slavery to Jim Crow to civil rights, we only made progress when we acknowledged its existence. So white supremacy understands the value of remaining concealed. Remaining concealed, they understand that Black people as a group historically, now maybe not presently, because of our work, we've attempted to change that, but historically, Black people have attempted to avoid direct confrontation, even intellectual and social confrontation of white supremacy. So the dominant society is understood, as long as you don't require this to be spoken in the open, Black people as a group are going to avoid the subject. You just have to make it where it's not blatant or it's not necessary for them to call it out. So one of the tools that they've attempted to use is they understand that Black people historically as a group have played along with white supremacy. When white supremacy attacks a black person, historically, we've played along with it. That is why we here in the black media, we do the opposite. The people that the dominant society praises, those are the ones we go after. And when we see someone in the dominant society starts attacking, we start saying, hey, let's take a look and see if there's another dimension to this. We might not necessarily defend them, but we do say, let's see if there's another dimension to this. O.J. Simpson, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant. These were all black men who, when they were useful to white society, they didn't say a word. Tiger Woods, when they were useful to white society did not say a damn word. They loved them. But as soon as you became too powerful, as soon as it looked like you were becoming powerful enough, you were beyond control, it's time to start tearing you down. Because they are afraid of your legacy, not your legacy to your biological children. They are afraid of your legacy to black society, that you will become a symbol of black greatness. And these men, no matter what they did, they couldn't be safe. They dated white women. They had children with white women in several of their cases, children with non-black women. They all of those things, and none of those things made white society say, okay, you're safe. Nothing you did could do that. And if you'll notice, they all got in trouble with white society because of a white woman, including Michael Jackson. How dare you marry Lisa Marie Presley? Folk didn't even think he was having sex with her. Do you all realize that? For those of you who are too young to remember, because you weren't there, no one ever accused Michael Jackson of ever having sex with Lisa Marie Presley. Hell, they had to ask him. I think didn't they have to ask him in a couple of interviews, by the way, have y'all actually consummated your marriage? Because Mike don't seem like that. He don't seem like Mr. Superman lover like that. But that wasn't the point. This was the white media wanting to confirm it. It reminds me of a story. About Elvis Presley. Reminds me of that. And I want to say he had done a radio interview, and I want to say they actually made him go back to the radio station, made him turn around and go back to the radio station and add on to the interview. But anyway, when Elvis Presley was a young man, he had done an interview on a radio station. And Peter Jennings of ABC News, they did a great documentary where they exposed all of this and explained all of it. So if you can find it out there anywhere, Peter Jennings of ABC News, they did a great documentary series about Elvis Presley, from the fact that he was actually born a platinum blonde to where he got his music from black society and everything else. But he had gone to a radio station in the South, and when he had done the interview, they played the record and everything, and they had done the interview with him. But then they started getting phone calls and stuff because, of course, this was during segregation, and back when white folk could be bold about their white supremacy, or at least bolder about it, and they could be upfront about it. Or at least if you broke the code, they could be very bold and upfront in how they confronted anybody who broke the code. So they were calling the radio station, what you putting this nigger on here for? Because to their ears, even though to our ears as black people, let's be very clear, Elvis Presley never sounded like a black person. Never. It was that his music didn't sound stuck up and stuffy, white folks' music. So they understood, well, they're playing the guitars in a different way. So understand, he wasn't even as good as Justin Timberlake. So black people never thought Elvis Presley was black. But white folk, their untrained ears, to their untrained, uncultured ears, they did. So when they heard this cornball sitting up here on the radio, they said, this sounds like a nigger to me. So they brought him. I want to say that he had left the radio station and they brought him back. If I'm in error, if that's a different interview, because there was an interview where he left the radio station and they brought him back. But I believe that he left the radio station, they brought him back, and they asked him a question. They asked him, where did you go to high school at? And he told him, I want to say like Riverside or Riverdale or some mess like that. But he told him where he went to high school at. Now, remember, this was during segregation. So they didn't have to ask him. This was in the middle of segregation, damn it. And they didn't have to ask him if he was white, nor did they attempt to ask him that. Now, this was in the middle of segregation. They had gotten phone calls questioning whether or not he was white and expressing their displeasure at it. The radio station understood, no, there's a specific way you have to go about this. They asked him what high school he went to because high schools were segregated back then. Oh, okay, well, he's white. He goes to that high school. Okay, he went to that high school. He's white. All right, and that killed all the controversy. Do you understand? The white media understood. We cannot say it's because you're white. We cannot acknowledge that. Our power lies in not saying that. There is a code. We're untouchable because we are invisible. So even when dealing with the ire of other white people and their displeasure, there was a method in which you dealt with that. And it satisfied all parties involved. Everybody's reading from the same playbook. Everybody knows the drill. We didn't ask you to say he's white. We have many ways of confirming that you're white, speaking about being white, talking. I mean, white folk and black folk heard the exact same question asked of Elvis Presley, but both of you took it in two totally different ways. You figure they brought him back to the radio station and asked about his background. You already did the interview with him. Black folk would be confused. The white folk understood why you're asking that. That question could be asked right in front of a black person, and a black person will not understand why that question is being asked. He understands the English language, he understands the question makes sense, and he understands the answer is completely rational and factual, but he doesn't understand the hidden meaning behind it. Code speak right in front of you. Code speak in plain English. So when they asked Michael Jackson about consummating his marriage, they wanted to confirm that Lisa Marie Presley's hymen, her racial hymen, was still intact, was what they wanted to know. Now, of course, because these people are dense and dumb, they didn't even ask, by the way, if she was willing to sleep with Michael Jackson or she was willing to get next to him. How many other brothers has she already been with? Because remember, her daddy was accused in your cornball society of sounding black. How many? And he had plenty of black folk around him, even though he said niggas couldn't do nothing but buy his records and kiss his ass, buy his records and shine his shoes. But Lisa Marie Presley grew up in that environment. So it's really highly probable that Michael wasn't the first, definitely probably wasn't the last. But these people don't think that way. This was a shock to their systems. So they asked, yeah, y'all consummate your marriage? I don't know if Oprah did that or not. I didn't watch the interview like that. I want to say I believe ABC News did interview them. And I want to say they did ask, I know for a fact they were asked about that. I know for a fact they were. Why would you ask that? They're a happily married couple. You ain't asked anybody else that. So you're questioning Michael's sexuality? Okay, that's not very polite. That's not very polite at all. You didn't question Elvis Presley's. Yikes. Don't go digging into that one. No, this was to determine if another legitimate heir to Elvis Presley's legacy could ever emerge between the legs of this white woman. That was what it was to determine. It was to determine whether or not we would be able to have another heir to Elvis Presley, or whether they had been completely defeated and the bloodline contaminated. That's what they wanted to know. In a single question. The question wasn't to determine Michael Jackson's sexuality. The question was to determine whether or not Lisa Marie Presley was willing to have herself dominated by the mud people and thus to destroy Elvis Presley's genetic legacy. That's what they wanted to know. So often of the time, we as Black people don't get that. This wasn't about Michael Jackson. This was about you and me. And so often, because Negroes are powerless in white society, they go after each other because they know they're powerless among white people. And that makes you ultra cowardly. You see, you're supposed to be gaining power in the dominant society and over the dominant society. You're not supposed to be looking to be weak. The dominant society understands Black people historically. And Black people historically have had a few powerful people, but a lot of weak ones who are comfortable being weak, who desire to be weak. So they've understood that. And they've used it to their advantage. So when I saw them going after Bill Cosby, and as you all know, I have never been a supporter of Bill Cosby. This microphone has savaged Bill Cosby for over a decade. And yet, when I saw them going after him, when I saw them changing laws, changing rules, unsealing sealed documents, all kinds of things that Black folk have to sit up here and can't get done, or if you can't get done, it takes a hell of a long time to get it done. All of a sudden, just bam, 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 they were getting these things taken care of left and right. Bill, the system that you had once been saying that if we just pulled our pants up, we wouldn't be a victim of, that system very quickly and immediately mobilized against you. Just that quickly, it mobilized and demonstrated to you that, yeah, when we talk about what the law can't do, that's just what we tell you niggas. We tell you that so we can just dismiss you and get you out of the way and just shoo you off. But no, this system moves not at the speed of light, but at the speed of white. You are dealing with a court system that moves at the speed of white. And they showed Bill Cosby just how quickly it can turn. So anybody who was out here deflowering white women and flaunting it is showing you what they can do now. Hell, Tiger Woods didn't even commit a crime. Tiger Woods cheated on his wife, okay? But the problem with Tiger Woods and Keith Olbermann, as you all remember, I told you about this. Keith Olbermann talked about this. And I'm going to get, this ties in with what I'm talking about them pushing us. I want you all to have the pretext of it. Keith Olbermann talked about this, about how the sports media, it was no secret to them. They had been following Tiger Woods around. They knew about all these dozens of white women that he was running around with. They knew about it. They didn't say anything about it. And they didn't say anything about it because the hog wasn't yet fat enough for slaughter. You see, we can take you out early in the game, and white supremacy does believe in killing threats in his crib. But you got to understand, by this time, Tiger Woods was already the dominant golf player in the world. You can't snuff this one out in his crib. That horse is already out of the gate. So what you need to do is, now you found his vice. You found his Achilles heel. You found his Achilles tendon. You have utilized your silence as a weapon because you painted him to be this all-star player and, all these morals clauses he's got. I mean, he's just a paragon of virtue. He's the guy you all you niggers wish you could be like. Or at least we hold him up and saying we wish you could be like him. He's got this lily white chick with him. Blonde hair, blue-eyed. I mean, she is the whitest of white, and we haven't said a word about it while we celebrated and praised it. So you can't accuse us of racism when we come after him. You see, this is about destroying legacies. Because the best you'll be able to say is, well, there was one half-breed who was able to dominate in golf. But you see, we were able to get black folk to run from him too. Nobody will claim him. Tiger Woods' legacy will be an orphan, and hopefully one day we can change the rules and re-rig it so that some young white male can ascend again to the pinnacle and break all of Tiger Woods' records, and then we can just shuffle him off into the trash heap of history, never to be spoken of again. And then by that time, we'll tell you, well, we don't speak about him because his record got broken. So that was the whole point of them being silent about all these white women that he was cheating on his wife with. Well, we knew what was going on, but you see, we got to fatten you up. And when this does happen, eventually something's going to occur and we'll be there. And by the way, remember paparazzi cameras were there with his wife beating on the damn Cadillac with a golf club. Nobody calling her a violent psychopath, by the way. Now, had this been a black woman, she'd be a violent psychopath. Tiger Woods, they claimed he was intoxicated and they arrested him. Hadn't committed a crime, by the way. Even that part got dismissed and shooed off, but hadn't committed a crime. Had not done any crime against his wife. But after the incident with the golf club, she goes ballistic. He gets arrested as a result. Next thing you know, the news media is treating cheating on his wife as if he had sexually assaulted somebody. And that was their point. They put him on trial in the media for sexual assault with no sexual assault committed. But we all know what it really was. Nigga, we let you have one white chick. And you not only did that, you just went damn me hog wild with it. You wasn't out here doing the most, you were doing everything. If it was a white chick somewhere, this Negro was going through the damn drive-thru at Burger King, running up on white chicks. Just if you saw one, that was it. He was on you. The list had gotten so big and so long, and of course they wanted to know, is anybody going to claim he sexually assaulted you? That'd be really great. We'll pay you for the story. Nobody made that claim. But they wanted it. So it doesn't matter how safe you are. It doesn't matter how much you kowtow. It doesn't matter how much you buck dance. It doesn't matter how much you do not rep black people. Understand something. Your black skin is your team, as Dr. Claude Anderson said. That's the team you're on, whether you wish to be on a team or not. This choice has been arbitrarily made for you. This is not a decision that you get to make. This is a decision that has been made for you. And no amount of singing "We Are the World" is going to overturn that. Eventually, you're going to get to, they don't really care about us. Eventually, you're going to get there. Eventually. That's where you're going. But please understand who the true targets are. Remember, I always told you all that with Trayvon Martin and whatnot, first they're going to go after the poor folks, after the powerless people. They're going to go after the people who don't have the means to defend themselves. And then they're going to start turning their guns on the more powerful ones. So you notice they're going on both ends of the spectrum. The police are going after the poor black folks, and they're going after the richer ones at the very top of the spectrum. If there's an opportunity to get you, they're getting you. They want to demonstrate that all of you are vulnerable. That no amount of historically laying up with white women is going to protect you. There's a key ingredient that they need in order to make this formula work. They need what they've always needed from slavery on. They need some degree of black complicity with their actions. They need for black people on some level to go along with it. On some level, you gotta go along. They need enough of you to say that this is okay. To repeat their talking points of, well, if you had just followed the law there, if he just wasn't resisting, what was he doing out so late in the first place? Why was he driving around so late in the first place? It'll be 7 o'clock in the evening, and you'll have some handkerchief-haired, buck-mouth, buck-tooth, buck-dancing nigga talking about, what were you doing out so late? So on the same token, they'll tell you that white supremacy doesn't exist, and then say, well, if you black, you know you ain't supposed to be out late like that in the first place. So you have Negroes who've adopted that cowardly, coonish mindset. They don't tell white people that. But to other black folk, they'll tell you that. But understand who the true target is in all of this. So what they want to do is they want to choose targets that they believe that there's controversy around. And if you're not controversial, black people killed by the police, they try to go dig up some dirt on you to make you controversial in their pathetic, lame hopes that they can make black people start to fight amongst ourselves and have conflicts among ourselves about whether or not we should defend this person or not. I have never defended police departments. I've never defended police departments. I defend black people who fight the system. So what I look for are individuals who the system is using or able to use to bolster itself. So when you got black people who refuse to say, when the white media says this was not white supremacy, the police killed this first person, but it wasn't white supremacy, I go and look at the families, because they're the only people who can speak for the victim now. If the family agrees with the media, then I'm going to go the other way. I'm not going to reinforce what the media says. So if the family agrees with the media, I'm not going to protect that. I'm going to go against them. Whatever the dominant society is saying do, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go the other way. That's a pretty good rule of thumb. Pretty good rule of thumb. And as black people, we have to understand that what the dominant society attempts to do is they attempt to create controversy so that black people are split, so that we're not all saying the same thing, so that we fight amongst each other about whether or not this is a racial issue. And in the midst of all that conflict, you're no longer fighting the dominant society, which is what they want. Long as you're fighting each other, you won't be fighting them. Don't really matter what y'all are fighting over. Even if you're fighting over how you should attack white supremacy, as long as you're not actually doing it, as long as you're all fighting about it, you're fighting about each other and not fighting them. That's all they really want. So when I saw Kobe Bryant killed in that helicopter crash, first thing I started doing was saying, okay, I'm waiting for this other shoe to drop. Waiting for this other shoe to drop. And sure enough, I think the quintessential example of that was Alison Morris of MSNBC, your so-called liberal network. And by the way, it's a week later and she still has a job. Megyn Kelly was fired for asking questions about blackface, which we all know that wasn't really the reason she was fired. She was fired because she wasn't bringing in the ratings and she'd been highly overpaid, and they seized upon that as their opportunity to get rid of her. But Megyn Kelly ostensibly, supposedly, allegedly got fired for asking a question. Alison Morris sat up here and said the Los Angeles niggers, niggers. You see, she wanted to poke that membrane of the society. Remember when I put up a post earlier last week, we're talking about the strategies of white supremacy. Strategy number 1, tell people that white supremacy doesn't exist. Strategy number 2, tell black people that there was just a misconception. You didn't hear what you really thought you heard. You didn't see what you really thought you saw. Number 3, when all else fails, then tell people, okay, what you gonna do about it? Dare them to fight back, because violence is always an option under white supremacy. Alison Morris is poking that membrane. Remember, I told you all a decade ago that white society was going to drop the polite tones and you were going to start hearing nigger like you've never heard it before directly from white folk in the mainstream media. And sure enough, from Dr. Laura Schlesinger to Dog the Bounty Hunter to Hulk Hogan, Alison Morris, they're trying to do it. So in Alison Morris's case, she's doing what those white reporters do with that Martin Luther King thing. They're trying to figure out a way to put it out there. This is why you see these photographs of law enforcement and football teams and stuff like that, where you got these white males throwing up the OK sign. They'll throw it up upside down. So that if you're not looking closely, you'll think their hands are at rest, but they're not. They're throwing up the OK symbol upside down. Why do they keep doing that? Because they are signaling to the society at large. They're signaling a call and a rally to arms to the society at large. I posted up on Twitter about how on Fox, even on the so-called right-wing network, there were white folk were these right-wingers now who supposedly don't like MSNBC and the quote liberal media. But when you put up the thing about Allison Morris, you had a bunch of them talking about the network. Well, if this would happen on the Fox network, oh, the liberals would be screaming. But they weren't going after Allison Morris. As a matter of fact, they were defending her and saying, I'm sure she didn't mean to say it like that, but I'm sure she just stuttered. I don't think she meant it that way. So they were trying to go after MSNBC, but they were on code, people. They were on code. They weren't attacking this white woman. I told you all that day. White society is not going to pick up pitchforks and help us to go bury a white person. They're not going to do that. They're going to look at us. They might stand to the side and grimace, but they're not going to pick up a shovel and start digging with us. They're not going to do that. They understand the value of being on code, and they understand that there is a code. So her job is to do what all these reporters around the country have been doing with that Martin Luther King thing. Her job, what she took it upon herself to do, is attempt to soften up the membrane. You see, having a full frontal assault is too blatant. Figure out some way to make it seem like it was an accident. Before now, that quote accident got you fired. Now that quote accident, that quote slip of the tongue, doesn't get you fired anymore. So what you're seeing is your so-called white liberal friends are letting you know, yeah, we ran all you niggas off the network for a reason. After Barack Obama left office, they had a whole bunch of black folks they brought in when he became president. And then as soon as he was leaving office, they got to firing every single one of them. Now you have a blonde-haired, even if it's colored, blue-eyed white woman talking about the Los Angeles niggers. And the network, the so-called liberal friends, Rachel Maddow, Chris Hayes, and the rest of them are silent. They're silent. Nobody's saying anything. She's trying to poke it and see if we can soften you up, desensitize you to it. You know, it's kind of like in boxing, you know, the first time you get hit in the gym and whatnot, it's a startling experience, but eventually we hit you enough times where you get used to it. It's not a startling experience anymore. So now we've trained you to be able to take a punch. That's what Allison Morrison was doing. She was training. The media put her out there for the purposes of desensitizing the society, to soften us up, to get us more conditioned to take a punch. So now you're hearing it over the air and you're not supposed to respond to it. They're pushing us. And they're checking to see how far they can push us. Pivoting from the blatant white supremacist media to the old black media. Anybody heard bowling ball, rolling, swollen Martin say anything? Come out against Allison Morrison? Has he made a video about that? I mean, I remember he was hugged up with Megyn Kelly. He ran to her defense. That was his buddy. Oh, so all you Roland Martin supporters, y'all just need to say it like it is. Look, we are turncoats against black society too. We are the Coon Brigade. That's us. That's us. Now, I'm waiting for Roland Martin to say something about Allison Morris. And lo and behold, I ain't hearing nothing. This is what your civil rights generation is about. This is what your butt dancing sellout community is about. This is what your academics are about, Mark Lamont Hill, who was first in line to jump up and say, I don't think she meant that. I think she meant niggers. I believe her. I believe her. I would say that Mark Lamont Hill is butt broken, but that would be implying that there was ever a time he wasn't broken. So, can't call him butt broken. Just have to say he's doing his usual thing. He's doing as expected, not butt broken. So yeah, somebody asked Roland Martin, by the way, shouldn't you be breathing fire and brimstone about this? And she's still there, by the way. She's still there. Why are you so silent? She's still there. He's been trying to get a gig back on MSNBC. We all know what the deal is. He wants back on network TV. This internet thing isn't working out for him. The new black media dominates the internet. This internet thing ain't working out for him. So now he's trying to figure out if somebody will give him a gig back on one of these TV networks again. Can I be the good black friend? But he knows there's only so far he can go. He knows the only targets he can really go after. And he knows that if he promotes black people's interests, there goes his only chance to get back in. He knows it. We can't leave our fate in the hands of in-house traitors. We can't leave our fate in their hands. But they've got him out there to the extent they do, so they can keep pushing at us. They want to see how far they can push us before they get a reaction. You're seeing what some people are calling an explosion of bedwench plantation mammies. They're all over the place on social media. A lot of them are these foreign flags. A lot of them are these immigrants. A lot of them are these non-Americans. A lot of them from these places where they have been physically and intellectually colonized. They're taking swipes at black people and specifically black men, the vanguard, the warrior class of the society. They've been going after us relentlessly. I had put up a tweet on Twitter where I was pointing out that Issa Rae had put out a trailer last week promoting black, female, Asian, male relationships. Now she's put out another trailer for a different movie. I mean, just back to back. What in the hell's going on here? With her trying to get booed up with a black male. And I'm like, wow, she's not a swirler. She's a carousel. And everybody's getting a ride. And if you all saw my Twitter, that post really went semi-viral. It's gotten tens of thousands of likes. She retweeted it on her page with a GIF riding a carousel. She's letting you know she's proud about it. She's letting you know this is a call. And people have been asking me, Jason, what's powering this? What's powering this is what I've told you all. As we become ascendant and as black empowerment becomes the standard, you all asked me, Jason, as the coon, as we get more powerful, are the coons going to back down? I said, oh no, they're going to double down. Oh, no. They're not going to run. They're going to double down because it's the only thing that they know how to do. It's the only play that they have. They put all of their eggs in White Daddy's basket. They've got no choice. They're going to have to follow this to the bitter dead end. They're going to have to. They don't have a choice in the matter. They're going to have to keep going. Doesn't matter if they don't like it or don't want to. They got to keep going. But furthermore, this is the only thing that they know to do. They don't have any capital amongst us. I've always taught you all have to understand, traders understand that they cross a point of no return at a certain point. At a certain point, you have done so many bad things. You've done so many wrong things. You have wronged so many people that you don't have the option of redemption anymore. So you are going to have to side with the people that you betrayed your people for. You're going to have to side with them. You're going to have to stay over there because you don't have a community to come back to. Let's just be very clear. A bunch of these individuals are doing this. They're doing this because they got nothing to lose. Brothers and sisters, what does Issa Rae have to lose at this point? She's not influential among black people. She doesn't have credibility. She's a representative of the Negro bedwench community. She's a representative of interracialist sellout community. She doesn't have any clout among black people. She doesn't have any. What does she have to lose at this point? A lot of folk are talking about Kalis, Nas's ex-wife, who not only was getting child support and way more money than she ever should have gotten, but now, because nobody's talking about her anymore, she's coming out talking about, she's in an interview with The Guardian, I think it was, talking about she no longer sees the need to protect the sanctity of black men. Heifer, when have you ever protected black men, period? You've been on a nonstop jihad against black men. You're delusional. And a very brief aside, fellas, you all know that for years now, I have warned you and I have admonished you and I have advised you, no matter how easy it is or no matter how tempting it seems, you cannot lay up with the little ditzy, weird, throwed off chick. I know a lot of you consider that to be alluring. You consider that to be, attractive in some ways, and sexually stimulating. A lot of y'all are looking for an easy layup, or, she's sitting there with her herbal tea and some, semi-natural hairstyle with her weird ass, denim Steve Urkel jeans on and her denim jacket with the red, black, and green peace sign on the back of it, looking like something straight out of Woodstock. You got to stay from the little weird Woodstock chicks, man. You got to watch out for that. They used to call them boho, bohemian. You got to stay away from that. You really do. They're weird, they're wacky, they're way out, and you might be able to deceive yourself into believing that weird, wacky way outness is really just, just a really spiritual chic, but that's not a chic, and it's not an act either. She really is detached, which makes her unstable. So fellas, let Kalis and all the others, by the way, when you meet the little throwed off chick, you cannot make any permanent attachments to her. One moment she's going to be telling you about white supremacy while she's twirling her little afro around her finger. She's making little twirls around her finger. The next minute she's going to be talking about being a feminist and how black men are no good. She's not going to spew this venom against white men. She's going to be reserving it for you. Please understand that. And there's a reason why the media has pulled her out of mothballs. Kalis is not significant. Why in the world? In the article, they had a big old picture of her and Nas. If she was significant, why didn't they show her by herself? They have a big ass picture of her and Nas from years ago. So that tells you who the target is. They're not interviewing her because they're interested in her. They're interviewing her because they know she's going to spew venom at black men. If she hadn't said what she said about black men, they wouldn't have even published the article. So these people are beginning to push against us again. They're pushing and they're pushing and they're pushing. And at some point, we got to say enough is enough. And I've got to tell you all, the Black Authority is just about there. I've just about had as much as I can take. And I've just about gotten to a point where I feel like it's time to push back, and to push back in a way that cannot be missed. Now, you all know me, so I don't have to sit here and explain it. You all know my get down. You know my MO. You know how I go about things. You know I don't play around. When Tamir Rice was killed, I went to Cleveland and I said, let me go ahead and get a billboard right next to the LeBron James Stadium there so we can ask a question. That got shut down, but it didn't stop me until I realized black folk in Cleveland, y'all kind of seem like you're bull jobbing. Let me check back later, see if you start getting some guts about you. In Dallas, Texas, when Botham Jean was killed, I didn't sit on the internet on my mama's couch. I didn't sit up here with my frog face trying to get shine for somebody else's documentary while I do nothing. Because I can't do nothing because you have no resources. People, it takes money to power a revolution. It takes money to fight propaganda. Somebody telling you that you don't need capitalism, you're getting beat to death with capitalism. It takes fire to fight this fire. Some nigga sitting around running his mouth and ain't doing a damn thing in the real world, they ain't gonna get nothing. We went to Dallas, and from the moment that Amber Geiger was arrested, we said, okay, I said to myself, we got to move on this now. I went and bought billboards asking why is it that the good cops aren't calling out the bad cops on major thoroughfares, major interchanges of the highways in Dallas, Texas. And it bore fruit. That the narrative was not about Botham Jean, it was about the police. Right-wing radio hosts and right-wing commentators and people on Twitter and everything else were asking about the damn billboard. They were angry as hell. They were wanting to know who the hell's doing this. Somebody has mounted a counteroffensive. Somebody has seized the narrative and is specifically guiding it in a direction that we don't want it going in. But it was too late by that point. It had captured the imaginations and the narrative was set. Somebody sitting up here running their mouths on the internet, that's not going to get that done. Oh, yeah, and one more thing, I went in my own pocket and paid for that. You need somebody who's able to move and mobilize immediately, not some bumming, begging-ass nigga sitting on their couch in front of their cell phone, not getting anything done and telling you why they can't get nothing done. Money don't matter. Yeah, that's easy to say when you don't have any. I guess that's the only, you have to surrender. I'm not about that, people. The money does matter, and you need people who can get mobilized and move right then. When I saw what needed to be done, I got mobilized and I moved right then. New York City, Brooklyn, I specifically chose that intersection at Nordstrom and Atlantic, I believe it was, where that right on that corner where that nail salon was, where those Asians that beat the hell out that black woman. I put a big ass billboard up there. New York is the front line. Race war. Right there at that corner. Everybody saw it. The media saw it. The taxis saw it. Everybody saw that. What do you think prompted people to go up in there on those people and say, we stopping this now? What do you think prompted that? When they started pushing, intelligent black society pushed back. Didn't sit around squealing and mewling about your failure. We pushed back. I gotta tell you, right now, I'm kind of feeling like we need to do the same thing again. And my target now is the Comcast Corporation, and specifically their division, NBC and MSNBC. I'm feeling like we need to do something. I'm feeling like we need to respond. And I'm feeling like if the white media isn't going to say this and they're going to try to make targets out of us, maybe we're going to make some targets out of them. Maybe we're going to start picking some targets of our own. And maybe Allison Morris is a target I feel like picking.
Line that bitch.
Allison Morris, I understand what you did. You saw what happened with Kobe Bryant. You believe that there would be enough division in black society that we would be so divided amongst ourselves that you could say Los Angeles niggers. You didn't say Kobe Bryant. You didn't say Sambo Bryant. You didn't slip up and say that. You said Los Angeles niggers. This was about race. You thought you were going to be slick about it, and your friends at the corporation let you know, wink, wink, we'll stand behind you. Well, I believe that if they're going to stand behind you, not only should they have to stand behind you, but they should have you as a millstone around their necks. They should have you as a millstone around their necks. If they want to hold on to you this bad, then by golly, by damn, they should sit there and hold on to you. And they shouldn't be allowed to let you go. Now, for those of you who have not been to New York City, maybe you just saw it on television, you know, Rockefeller Plaza, that's a big hunk of geography. Where they have the Today Show, that's a big hunk of geography there. And you know, I'm thinking if they're going to do this, if they're going to be out there and have that, maybe we should drop in on the proceedings too. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe we should have a protest, not a typical protest, though. I'm thinking we should have a protest during Black History Month. And I'm thinking we should have it right outside the window where the Today Show has their program. You know, like they like to show the people behind them and stuff. I'm thinking maybe we should have that. I'm thinking maybe we should have it outside the building. I'm thinking that maybe we need to have one of those rolling billboard trucks with a special message. And that truck should start rolling, I don't know, around 6:30 in the morning and just keep making the block. Because Rockefeller Center is a major tourist attraction. And I'm thinking that maybe we here at the Black Channel could make our own personal contribution to the allure of Rockefeller Center and specifically NBC and MSNBC. Allison Morrison wanted to be famous. She wanted to be a star. I think we should help her become more famous. It's what we ought to do. And I think it should be something that people should not be allowed to miss, no matter where they are. I know a lot of you would support that. I know a lot of you would be keen on that. I'm thinking about going into my own pocket to do that. And let me be very, very clear about this. This is not about Kobe Bryant, people. She wasn't taking a shot at Kobe Bryant. She was taking that at all of us. She was taking that at all of us. And then the corporation that she works for, the same MSNBC that has attacked reparations, that has attacked those of us who have been on the case for promoting reparations now. For a decade, they called us bots. They called us Russians. They attacked us. They said we weren't real. They said we were a problem. The same MSNBC that did that brings you Allison Morris and the Los Angeles niggers. I want you to understand, this isn't a minor thing. This is not a little thing. And if we remain silent on this and there's no pushback of any kind, then just understand that happens at our peril. Because that will embolden them. You know how it is when you deal with a bully. When they push you and they hit you and they're allowed to get away with it, that doesn't stop them from doing it. They don't get tired of it. It emboldens them to get worse. And right now, if we do nothing, we are emboldening them to get worse. I'm saying it's time to stop it. Or at least to show them, you push us, we're going to drop kick you. You slap us, we're going to body slam you. Let's be very clear about this. You touch us, we're going to escalate on you. But let's be very clear about the terrain in which you find yourselves. You are going to keep your hands off of us, and you're going to keep our names out of your mouths. You don't have the right to speak on any of us in a negative way. None whatsoever. You have no place and no right to do that. White people are 65, 69% of the population, and you all don't sit up here and make them your daily damn targets every day. Somehow you're able to host a news program and the evening news without talking about what white folk are doing. Well, you're going to have the same policy with us. You're going to keep our names out of your mouths. That's what you're going to do. You're going to keep our names out of your mouths. And right now, and I'm not saying definitively that this is it, but I am telling you all right now, I'm very much thinking about going in that direction. I'm very much thinking about going in the direction of putting up something that cannot be missed. I'm very much thinking about going in the direction of putting up something right there next to NBC, so we can let them know, if you do not talk about the issue, that's perfectly fine. We will make you famous now. You're going to be having to come up with all types of new camera angles to avoid what we going to do. We're thinking about making you famous now. So like I say, as I stroke the Ayatollah beard, and as I think over the subject here, I just have to wonder to myself, it might be time to make another example. Because I want you all to understand, this to me is a watershed moment. Do you realize what this means if Allison Morris is allowed to say the Los Angeles niggers and is allowed to stay on television where she is? Do you understand that sets a precedent? If you think that what she said was a misunderstanding, then explain to me why even the right-wingers at Fox were defending her. If this was just a misunderstanding. If it was a misunderstanding, why didn't they pounce on her? White society is on code. If this was a misunderstanding, why are they all on code? If this isn't really white supremacy, why is white society circling the wagons? If this was really a misunderstanding, why aren't they saying we need more information, we need to know more? Why aren't they saying that little mantra they usually trot out? They're not saying it because that's not what it is. It's not a misunderstanding. We know exactly what this is. We know exactly what it is. And as Black people, if we continue to allow people to do this, that's bad. It'll be bad for us and bad for the future. Kamala Harris's history in California, when she tried to go to the masses, the Black media was there to stop her like a brick wall. The types like Allison Morris, that's going to demand something different. You have a corporation willing to stand behind her. And that's just going to be the first one. What are you going to say when the next ones happen? People, they're trying to normalize attacking us openly in the media. Do you understand that? The third and fourth steps to Nazi Germany. Now they're going, it used to be low key. It used to be more subtle. It used to be more nuanced. Now they're just coming out with it. How many of your white Lakers fans were upset with Allison Morris for saying the Los Angeles niggers? If you believe that this was a misunderstanding, where are your white Lakers fans to be upset about this? Where are your white sports commentators to be upset about this? They're all on the same page, on the same tune. Nobody thinks she meant to say what she clearly said. Nobody thinks that. We've got 100% agreement. People, is that even mathematically possible? Is that even mathematically possible? Is it even mathematically possible that 100% of them could be in agreement? That defies the laws of physics and mathematics. What is the probability that all of them are in complete agreement if they are all being objective? Nobody agrees with us at all? No one? No one in the dominant society agrees that they heard what we heard? And then say the other thing, well, and even if you heard that, we don't think she meant it. We think she meant to say. So there's a lot of folk who are not even denying that she said it. They're saying that, well, she meant to say. People, this wasn't even a story about the damn Knicks. How is it that they're all in complete agreement about this? That is because they all completely agree you are the enemy, even if you don't see yourself that way. They do. And they understood that she was softening up the underbelly. She was putting it out there. So the next time it happens, here we go again. Please understand, this is like law, people. If she's allowed to get away with this, you set a precedent. You set a precedent now. And what I'm telling you is you're going to see more creative, quote, stumbles happen all over the place. You're going to be hearing Sambo, Monkey, Ape, and a bunch of things that used to get people fired, and now it won't. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. Please understand, if we don't make a demand, if we don't make it clear that we've got power to bear, they're going to escalate. They're already cheering on Jim Crow Joe Biden. They already got Bernie the bigot out there. We as Black people need to make it clear. Understand, they're not going to take their hands off of us unless we show them that we're going to enforce a no-hands policy. You're going to keep our names out of your mouths. If you don't, we can make things uncomfortable. So, I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go that route. I haven't decided yet how to go about that route. Haven't said that just yet, but I'm just letting you all know. I've kind of been contemplating it and thinking it over. I've been mulling it over. Maybe at some point, all these forces have been pushing against us. Maybe at some point in the near future, this being Black History Month, maybe we've decided to make a little history out of them. Who knows? Why don't you let me know what you all think? If you're new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. We have over 88,000 subscribers and rising. This is not a little thing. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. They fear us, and they fear us with good reason. If you have not clicked the subscribe button, click that button and join us. Then click the other notification bell so you can be notified when we're broadcasting, at least some of the time, because YouTube does interfere with that. If you've been a subscriber before, please check your subscription status. Make sure you're still subscribed. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people, but don't let that deter you. We've got the bad guys on the run. We've got them scared. Let's keep them that way. If you want to see more of our work, you can go to our website, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. Check out our documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Ethnic Cleansing American Style. Our newest documentary, Race War. All available on sale on Amazon, all available for streaming. You can check them out now. Call two friends, call two enemies, call a coon, call a white supremacist. In this Black History Month, get them the gift of Black empowerment. blackchannelfilms.com. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio program. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.